Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a great day today. Today's video is going to be going through my entire makeup inventory. I like to do these updates quarterly so that I am keeping track of my collection, making sure that I'm not like drastically growing in any one category. And yeah, basically just making sure that I am keeping on track, not overspending, not just adding a ton to my collection. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer and I love trying new makeup. I love all things beauty, but I definitely don't want to be overspending, over-consuming. I am just a person and I am trying very hard to make sure that I am not just consuming for no good reason. So if you like these types of videos, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already, and let's just hop into it. This time I did something a little bit different. I went through my entire collection and I made a massive, and I mean massive, spreadsheet of my entire collection. So I am gonna share the spreadsheet with you guys. I went through and categorized all of the things that I have in my collection. So you can see here, I have the overview, which is just the total number of products that I have in my collection. Little spoiler alert. I have a tab for things that I'm going to be adding and subtracting from my collection in 2025. So this is just a better way for me to know like when and where I added or decluttered or used up, finished, anything like that. I have all of my primers, foundations, concealers, powders, all of the categories, but I have these separated out into brand, product, texture, rating, the price, any notes I have about the products as well. And I went through and I did this for every single item in my collection all the way through. So a ton of tabs here. I am honestly really excited about this. I love me a good spreadsheet. It just helps for me to be able to see everything at one glance, one look like this. Also, just knowing like how much everything costs is kind of helpful as well, especially when I'm doing like empties, full faces of like high-end makeup, whatever like that. I also took pictures of all of my products that I have in these categories. It'll probably be missing a few here and there just because some of the products that I have are at my fiance's house. Some of the products I just had in a random spot and I misplaced it. But today we're just gonna mostly go through the numbers, and I will share a copy of this spreadsheet with you guys in case you guys also want to track your items like I do. Yeah, let's just get started. So in September of last year, I had 10 primers and now I'm at 9. That is because I finished up my Glossier Future Dew primer. This was in my project pan. I finally finished it. It has taken me like almost half a year to finish it up. I'm glad that number decreased. I'm also working on this little mini of the Be Goldy Bright Drops primer, and hopefully that shouldn't take me too long to finish up either. I'm anticipating that by spring of this year, that number will get down to 8, which is really, really good in my opinion. I'm not too concerned about the number of primers I have. I don't really buy a ton of primers. Honestly, I don't wear primer very often anyway, unless I'm like forced to. So this is just me slowly trying to use up all of the primers. If I do feel like I need to go in with something in the morning or before makeup, I usually end up going in with a moisturizer just because that tends to hydrate my skin the best. So I'm at 9 now. I was at 10. Hopefully by next update I will be at 8, and I think that shows like a pretty good steady progress as well. For foundations, in September I had 13 and now I'm at 14. This is part of the reason why I wanted to add the tab for things that I'm adding and subtracting from my collection in 2025 in general, because I don't exactly remember what I added to my collection in the past couple of months that would have warranted this. The only thing I can really think of maybe is the second shade of the Urban Decay Face Bond, but I think that was the quarter before that. So I'm not entirely sure what I added here. I'm sure I can go back to some collection videos and maybe figure it out, but part of the reason why I wanted to have the ins and outs of 2025 was so I could track those a little bit better. I have a very short memory. I tend to forget most things, so I did increase by 1 I don't think that's too bad. I definitely need to like chill that out a little bit because 14 is still a lot of foundations. That is still a lot of product that like I'm just not going to be able to use up completely. I'm currently working on my Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint, so hopefully this will get rolled out soon, maybe it'll probably be less than a year, but it's still going to take me quite a while to work through this entire Glossier Skin Tint. I anticipate this number staying at 14 for a little bit. Hopefully it won't increase too drastically in the next, I keep wanting to say semester. That is not the right term. In the next quarter here. I don't think 14 has gotten like out of control though. The next item I have here is concealer. In September of last year, I had 11 and now I'm at 10. This was due to a declutter, and I decluttered the REM Beauty concealer pretty recently in the last month or two. I just wasn't using it. I didn't love the formula enough to hold on to it. It wasn't super remarkable in my opinion, and so that was a declutter. I am currently working through my Tower 28 concealer in my project pan right now, so hopefully this number will go down just a little bit in the next year. But yeah, for the most part, I'm working on it. Moving on to powders. In September, I had 11 and now I'm at 13. I don't think that's like too big of an increase. Again, I know that I just love powders. I love powders so much. That is one of my favorite categories. I especially love a loose powder, and I did get sent a couple. I don't remember buying any recently. I also am really close to finishing up my Kosas Cloud set, so by this time next quarter, I think I'll be back down at 12. Hopefully, I'm like really close to finishing up my powder here, and that would be a great improvement. I want to not have this many powders because that is a lot. Again, I don't think any of these categories have like exponentially grown in the last quarter. I think I've been pretty good in general about not buying too much and trying to just like make my collection more manageable. So again, don't think I'm gonna decrease any, don't think I'm gonna increase a ton either. I think this is still a pretty good number, especially because I'm an oily gal. I love my powders and I'm actively trying to use some of them up. So hopefully that'll work out. The next category I have here are bronzers. From June to September to January of this year, I've stayed steady at 20. This is really good in my opinion. There haven't been any bronzer launches that have super intrigued me. I also just don't use bronzer a ton. I'm actively working my way through my e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer, so I think this is really good. This includes contours as well. I'm not too concerned about this number. I think staying at 20 is pretty good in my opinion, and in my head that means that all of the bronzers I have in my collection are bronzers that I love, that I keep using, that I keep wanting to have in my collection, so decluttering them isn't like an issue for me in this category. I know that a lot of the times I declutter, it still feels wasteful buying them just to declutter them. So I think that I've pretty much curated my bronzer collection, and that's really my ultimate goal. So I'm really happy with this. I'm glad I haven't increased or decreased any. I'm hoping that that continues to be the case in the next couple of months here. For highlighter, I did do a bit of a declutter in the last couple of months. I went from 9 highlighters in September to 5 highlighters in January. This pretty much meant that I decluttered all of my powder highlighters. I'm not a big highlighter person. I don't need a highlighter to bring glow to my face. I would prefer to do that with a glowy primer or just with my like natural oils. So I'm happy with the number of highlighters I have. I like all of the cream highlighters that I have in my collection. There are a couple of liquid highlighters as well, but for the most part, if I am gonna go in with a highlighter, I would much prefer going in with a cream, something that like melts into the skin really well. And again, I'm not wearing any highlighter today, and I feel like I look plenty glowy from the primer that I use, and that's kind of my preference for adding any glow or shine to my face. So I'm happy with number 5. I don't foresee this going down a ton in the next couple of months or in the next like year or so, but I don't anticipate this increasing either. For blushes, there was actually a decrease in the number of blushes. Again, through my end of year declutter, you probably would have seen a bunch of them. In September, I had 44 blushes and now I'm down to 37. Again, not a huge decrease, but enough for me to feel a little bit more confident in my collection. I still have a ton of blush. I completely understand that. Blush is probably my worst category in terms of excess, but I love blush. Blush, powder, and single shadows are like my kryptonite. Those are the products that I keep wanting to buy, keep reaching for, and the fact that I have decreased that number is pretty impressive in my opinion. Again, I know my blush collection in general fluctuates a lot. I do love trying new blush and I do end up decluttering some blushes as well. I'm hoping that in this year the buying will be minimal and so that it'll stay around this number for the next couple of months here. The next category are face palettes. Face palettes are never something that I'm super concerned about. I don't reach for face palettes very often. The two that I have now are the two that I've had for pretty much the entire last year and the year before. I like the two face palettes I have. I really only reach for them when I have an event or like I'm traveling somewhere. That number has been steady. It's stayed steady for the last couple of years, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm happy that that number has stayed pretty constant. The next category here, also a drastic decrease through my declutter. If you haven't watched my end of year declutter, highly recommend it to see what products I'm actually getting rid of. For eyeshadow palettes, I went from 19 in September to now I have 10. Pretty much got rid of all of the colorful eyeshadow palettes, pretty much got rid of the palettes that I just wasn't using. I ended up donating a lot of them to Project Beauty Share. I'm trying to sell 2 of them. If you guys are interested, I have them up on my Instagram. If you are, just DM me. But in general, I'm pretty happy with this. I don't anticipate buying more because again, I just don't wear eyeshadow very often. And when I am wearing eyeshadow, it's usually a single shadow or it's like a mini palette that I'm taking with me to travel. So I think this is pretty good. 10 is definitely a great improvement and I'm hoping that in the next couple of months that will continue to be the case. I haven't really been super interested in a ton of new launches, honestly. So I'm hoping that this stays pretty near the 10 number. The next category I have here are lip liners, and in September I had 14 and I'm still at 14, so I haven't picked up any new lip liners recently. I'm not actively trying to pan any lip liners either, so I'm just working my way through them. They're gonna take me a while. Lip liners do take a while in general. Pretty happy to see that number stay consistent. This next category, I broke it up into 2 separate categories, which I haven't done in the past. This category used to be lip gloss and lip balms combined, but now I have separated them out into lip balms and lip glosses. September of 2024, I had 36 lip glosses and lip balms. Now I am at 24 and 14. So not too bad. This ends up being a 2 increase from previous years. This makes sense. I think I added 3 of the Ulla Henriksen Pout Preserve lip balms, which are my new favorite lip balm in my collection. I love them. They're so hydrating. They make my lips look juicy. I ended up losing a lip gloss. There's also probably some discrepancies here and just things that are in purses that I keep forgetting about. This stayed around the same amount of products, so this is about what I was expecting. Again, I know this is like one of my problem categories. I am trying to work my way through it. I do have a lip gloss in my project pan almost always, actively trying to work through it, trying not to buy a ton, and lip balms are just kind of my kryptonite. My lips are perpetually dry. I love trying new lip balms, and the ones that I have in my collection are always good. The next category I have here are lipsticks, and this increased a little bit, mostly from recategorization and Nabla sending me PR. So in September, I had 11 and now I'm at 15. The 2 lipsticks that I can distinctly remember right now, 2 from Nabla. It was the Beyond Jellies sheer lipsticks, but in their crystal line, like their like shimmery type of lip product as well, and then just some recategorizations from lip glosses to lipstick, mainly the Makeup by Mario Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serum thing, that thing. So kind of an increase. Again, not too concerned about it. I know my lip category is like pretty excessive in general, but I don't think this is too out of hand yet. I think I'm still at a good pace. The next category here are eyeliners. I went from 17 in September to 19. Again, mostly 100% actually from Nabla sending me some of their Cupid Arrow Shines and Cupid Arrows in general. I love these. They're one of my favorite formulas. I just love having a nice collection of them, and they're really pretty and they work really well and they stay a really long time for me. So I love that formula. Most of my eyeliners are this formula. That is what it is. The next category I have here are mascaras. I started in September with 10 and now I'm at 8. Again, don't think that's like too bad. Mascaras aren't something that I'm too concerned about not using up because I try to cycle through them every couple of months. Right now I think it's a little bit excessive just because I need to like go through them, but mascaras kind of last longer than I think in my head. The main thing here is that I need to stop buying backups and stop buying mascaras when I'm not done with previous ones. Again, not like the end of the world, but definitely need to cool that down a little bit. I don't need 8 mascaras at a single time. The next category here are single shadows, and again, single shadows are one of my kryptonites. I started in September with 19 and now I'm at 15, so a declutter through my end of year declutter. I don't think that this is a terrible number. Again, 15 is still a lot. I completely understand that, but I don't think it's like over the top dramatic either. It is just what it is. I don't foresee this like skyrocketing anytime soon. I don't foresee this like completely getting wiped out anytime soon either. The next category I have here are brow products. I went from 18 in September to 16 now. Not too concerned about this. Most of my brow products are brow gels actually, either tinted ones or clear ones. I don't have a ton of pencils in my collection right now, and I don't have a ton of like markers. I think I just need to work my way through some of the brow gels. I just find myself reaching for the same ones over and over again because those are the ones that I prefer over everything else, but I do see that I need to work through them a little bit more, try and like use them up a little bit faster. So 16 is a lot, but not too much. The next category I have here are setting sprays. In September I had 8 and now I'm at 7. Setting sprays, again, I only reach for when I feel like I need to reach for them. It's not something that I tend to use every single day. I keep one in my to-go makeup bag just so I always have one on hand, like a little mini of the Urban Decay All-Nighter. I did end up using that up, so I'm gonna refill the little mini bottle with some of my big bottle of Urban Decay All-Nighter. I think that'll help me finish up the setting spray a little bit faster. I don't think 7 is too excessive. I know that I just purchased the One Size Until Dawn setting spray mostly for wedding makeup looks because I was really excited about trying out that setting spray because I'm doing my own makeup for my wedding and I want to make sure that my makeup stays on all day long, and I've heard nothing but good things about that. 7 is not a huge number. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that is a-okay. The next category I have here are color correctors. I went from 5 in September and now I'm at 3. I did declutter a couple of duplicates. I decluttered a color correcting under eyeshadow palette just because I just don't reach for it, and I decluttered a blue color corrector for my foundation as well. Again, I don't reach for them very often. I don't feel like I need to, and a lot of my foundations now are that olive undertone, so I don't need to do a ton of correction on them. So I'm happy with this number. I don't anticipate this number going up anytime soon. I don't anticipate this number going down anytime soon. It is going to stay pretty steady from now on. I think that is the right move there. And then the last category I have here are just miscellaneous things. So this is the Bubble and Rudy freckle pen. It doesn't really fit into any of the specific categories. I don't like this freckle pen. I'm honestly just trying to completely use it up, and then I will go back to my Freck Noir when I can, but I'm at 1. I have pretty much stayed at 1 like freckle pen miscellaneous thing for the length of my collection. So in totality, in September, I had 277 makeup products and now I'm at 256. 256. So overall, that's a pretty big increase. I'm pretty happy with that number. Again, there hasn't been like a massive change, fluctuation in my collection in the past couple of months, last couple of years, honestly. I feel like this is pretty good. I am glad that I've decreased it quite a bit, and I'm hoping, very, very much hoping that that stays the case. I kind of realized the error of my ways of buying so many things just to get rid of them. Not only is it like a massive waste of money for me if I try a product and I immediately declutter it, it's also just incredibly wasteful for the environment, for just all of the factors. So I try to be a conscious consumer as much as I can. I try to do research on the product before buying a product. I try to make sure that the product would work for me before I buy the product. Things happen. I'm not perfect. I do consume. I am a consumer, and hopefully this collection stays pretty stagnant. I've been pretty good in the past couple of years of not like buying a ton of things, but I can always do better. There's always room for improvement. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys liked seeing my collection and going through these numbers. I will have the Excel sheet linked for you guys in the description box if you guys want to see my collection, but also a template for you guys to fill out if you guys want that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.